Welcome to Kathryn Raaker's World. Innovation, culture, adventure, fashion and health, artists, destinations, traditions. This is Kathryn Raaker's World.
Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker, and our guest today is John Goodwin, and he will discuss the upcoming L. Ron Hubbard's Writers of the Future and Illustrators. Actually, we just finished one, and that was for 2022. And John is the president of Galaxy Press and has been involved with book publishing since 1986. He is a board member of the Audio Publishers Association, a national organization of the audio publishing industry. He has become very active in Hollywood community the past several years, serving as a board member of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. He's also a board member of the Friends of Hollywood Central Park, an organization creating a 44-acre park over the Hollywood Freeway, and has been very active in creating the Hollywood Christmas Parade as means of continuing popularization of Hollywood. He is a member of the Explorers Club, Science Fiction Writers of America, Mystery Writers of America, and the Western Writers of America, as well as Dubai Press Club, as part of an international effort to introduce his publishing program into the Middle East. And you need to go to writersofthefuture.com for their website. Welcome to our show today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Kathryn. So great to be with you again.
I know. Your radio show is awesome and it's playing, so you're going to be, and actually next week is when you're going to be doing
the release of the print book of this one here, of Writers of the Future, volume 38.
Oh, wow.
And so we're very excited about that because we've talked about this program for many years that we've been discussing it. And it's always such a treat to be recognizing and letting into the world of publishing and illustration 12 writer winners and 12 illustrator winners. And now it's international in scope. We had winners from representing 10 different countries this year in this book. So we're very happy about that. And it's also one of our first judges was Frank Herbert, who was the author of Dune. And he wrote an essay. The last essay he ever wrote was for the Writers of the Future. And it gives a really good piece of advice for writers. And he also has a short story that it was never published while he was alive, but we've got it published in here. We're very excited about that, as well as, obviously, the 12 writer winners and 12 artist winners.
Well, you know, what's really exciting is that you give people an advantage that they've never had before, an opportunity to put pen to paper, and also for artists to be able to create really gorgeous illustrations. And I've been with you, I can't even remember how many years now I've been doing this, right?
Multiple, yes, many multiples.
And I'm now representing, I'm really excited about this, she's a science fiction writer. And she has seven books she's already written in a year's time.
Wow, now that's prolific.
It is. So she's going to be another Harry Potter person, but it's not for kids. It's for adults. So
Good.
It makes it different, and I can't wait to introduce you to her. She's excited about meeting you guys, and she's a doctor as well, a pulmonologist of everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And do you see now, today, because of COVID and a lot of other things that have happened, there are more and more people that are taking pen to paper to help them with stress, especially
Yes.
doctors.
Yeah, it's an amazing relief. It's an amazing resource that a person actually has. And interesting enough, at the beginning of the whole pandemic, we launched a free online Writers of the Future writing workshop, where we had about 13 videos, individual videos we created with Orson Scott Card. He's the guy that wrote Ender's Game, Tim Powers is the author that wrote On Stranger Tides, which became the Johnny Depp movie series. And then Dave Wolverton, who had several Star Wars universe and several of his other epic fantasy stories. They all did individual videos on how to write short stories. Well, that came out right at the beginning of the pandemic. We thought we'd have maybe 1,000 people on this course. We had 3,000 people on it within 24 hours. It was amazing, now we're over 6,000 people. But the whole thing is that if a person has a story, it gives you an opportunity to tell that story, and it's amazing, like you said, creating relief. You can get off, whatever's going on, you can translate either into science fiction or fantasy, or you can make it nonfiction, whichever. But we give you the tools on how to write a story as taught by professionals. And we also have 11 different essays that Mr. Hubbard wrote in the 30s and 40s to aspiring writers. That's also in the course.
Well, what's so exciting is that you do this 4 times a year.
Yes.
Can you talk about the contest and how it works, please?
Absolutely. So it was originally launched in 1983 by Mr. Hubbard, and we're now in year 39. This book here is volume 38, which released, but now we're almost done with year 39. So the year is broken into 4 quarters, and each quarter went from October to December, January to March, April through June, and then July through September. And so during that time period, people can enter a story or 3 illustrations, and it's free to enter. You can upload it. So we have entries from over 175 countries. We have thousands of entries every quarter, but it's free to enter. The judging is blind. So the judges only see a number and the story or the art. So they have no idea if you're male, female, gender, anything, nationality. It's straight based on merit alone that a person wins. And that's why we never know who's winning until we get the stories back and the contest administrator takes the numbers off and finds out who the person was. So that's how we find out. So we had one illustrator this year was in his 70s. We had another illustrator that was still in high school. And we have writer winners from Australia, UK, Spain, South Africa, all over. We had winners sometimes we have winners from countries where they can't come in, like from Turkey or from Iran. But it's just we don't have a problem. If art is art and needs to be celebrated. And this is something that's very real, I know, to you, because you're such an amazing person on all the aspect of the arts, both with your writing as well as what I've seen you've done to celebrate artists. So I think it's in part why we have such a really good, rapport, between each other because of that. But basically every quarter then 3 writer winners are chosen and 3 illustrator winners are chosen. But then you've also got the semifinalists, you've got honorable mentions, and they all get announced. And now the contest is so well known and so well regarded that people will post in their bios now that they were an honorable mention in Writers of the Future. And I'll every couple of weeks I'll see a press release from somebody else that I don't really know, because I really get to know the winners, who said, yeah, I even won honorable mention in Writers of the Future. And it is the most prestigious of the writing contests because it's strictly on merit. There's no strings attached to it. So if a person submits a story, they don't have to pay anything. You maintain all your rights to the story. You have, if you win, you're flown out to Hollywood for a week-long writing workshop with these judges. And the judges are some of the biggest names in science fiction and fantasy. And then a real fancy awards gala. And then what's really cool is that we work with the winners and we book them on radio and TV and newspaper to help them launch their careers, to give them that leg up so that people get to know who they are. Our grand prize illustrator this year has already got 3 major jobs he's working, because of the recognition he got having won. Our grand prize writer winner has already had his first couple contracts. So it really does prove itself out to be that very much vital, necessary launch to successful careers if you're really willing to take that step to really push through and make that your career.
Well, I have to tell you, actually, I contacted my son, right, who had been a journalist. Mm-hmm. And now we haven't done anything in science fiction yet. Okay. This is a spy novel, but it would be kind of cool to do something like that and encourage him to do that because I think there's a lot of people that are shy about it,
Mm-hmm.
and so they just need that, and that's the reason why I started the mentoring program for the Arts for Children, because I wanted to encourage kids not to be afraid to do
Which
something.
is amazing.
Because when I was a little kid, right? Not a little kid, but when I was in high school, actually, I've been a doodle artist all my life, but then when I got into high school, I really wanted to do it, and I wanted to do drama. And I think that kids want that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a great outlet. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's great.
So we need to take a short break, John, but we'll be right back with John Goodwin, who is the president of Galaxy Press and been involved in book publishing since 1986. And I want to find out a little bit about your background. How about that?
All righty.
When we come back, we'll be right back with Kathryn Raaker's World and Let's Just Talk. We'll be right back. We're back from break with our friend and actually the president of Galaxy Press, John Goodwin. And John, like I said, it's been years, and I actually love the world of science fiction. And some of the things that are coming out are just done so well. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you why you got involved in this in the beginning of 1986. Let's find out a little bit about you.
All righty.
Okay.
So I was actually, I did throughout, I guess, even through high school, I tried a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I was always working different jobs every summer. I wanted to be able to build my own house. So I learned every trade, as I was going through college. And then that didn't happen, but I can repair anything now. But then I started working at Bridge Publications, and that may have been when we first met. That was a long time ago. But there, I started off, I've worn every hat in a publishing house. And I started off working in marketing and sales. And then I even had to do some stuff working in finance, because on all the royalty reports and stuff that were going to the author, working all that stuff out, getting into. And then the last area I touched on was actually PR. And so I started working on that. And the head of president is heavily PR, for a company. So I was involved heavily with both the initial launch of the Mission Earth series, which was the last series that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. And concurrently, there was that campaign that we ran on Dianetics in 1986, where it was 100 weeks on New York Times. I was intimately involved with that campaign. In 2002, I was asked to leave Bridge Publications and come over and start this new imprint called Galaxy Press. And so I've been doing that since 2002. I've been the president since 2002. And because I've worn every hat in the publishing house, it made it easy for me to assume that. And so I've been doing, I guess, since '86 I've been working in publishing, but I've really narrowed into working with the PR and also helping other writers. That was something I started back in Bridge in the mid '80s, '86. But it really has gotten a lot more so especially with the pandemic hitting, where people were really desperate. Having this as an outlet for writers and artists to go to be able to express themselves and to deal with this, it's made a world of difference. And like yourself, I love helping people. It's just, I get such a rush out of that every day when I see the people writing into me saying, I just got this book published, I just did that. Every quarter, every year, we have, the number of people entering the contest gets more and more and more. The people taking the online course. I've got a podcast, which I'm going to get you on one of these. I think it'll be great because it's up to almost 1.5 million listens per episode now. And it's just, and that's in over 100 countries. So people want to be able to write. There's a lot of people they got a story and they want to be able to tell the story. They don't know how to. And like you said, some people are very shy. Quite often, husbands and wives are the ones that submit the stories. Say, well, you're so good, I'm going to submit it. And, they get a call saying you won. They said, I won what? Oh, I guess my wife submitted it for me. But
I love it.
It's really important to have somebody that believes in you. And even if you don't win the contest, the worst you're going to get is an email from us saying, thank you very much, enter again. And I will say the stories have to be PG. We don't accept anything that's rough, on sex and on bad language. But otherwise, you don't really need that to tell a good story. Read your book there, and you don't need it. It's good thriller adventure that you write. So
it is.
Yeah. So that's just something that is important. And you've got so many major names in science fiction that lend their names to this contest because they believe in it and what it's done. So I've kind of I'm writing in the coattails of these major authors. I'm like their biggest cheerleader, and I'm the biggest cheerleader for the winners. And so I'm still in communication with people that won volume 3. That's like 35 years ago. I'm still in touch with people, just very excited on their career as it expands. Obviously, they go out and they'll talk to other people, and they'll promote the values of the contest. And very much because of working with people like yourself, that others get to find out about it, and they know, and they can enter the contest and find out what they have to gain. And it really does make a big difference. We've got so far since we started, we got 428 writer winners and 358 illustrator winners that have been acknowledged, and a good half to 2/3 have gone on to careers in writing. So it's got an amazing success rate with this contest.
One of the questions that I want to ask you is, do you have people that actually that have been winners, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have been winners that can enter again?
No, once you've won, you've won. If you've been, the only thing that can happen is sometimes there's a published finalist. Like, we go for getting the book to be a certain thickness. And if the stories, because the stories can be anywhere from a couple hundred words up to 17,000 words. So if the winning stories are closer to 6,000 words per story, then we will have more, we need to fill up more space. So then we'll publish a finalist. So if they're in the book and they're published finalists, they can still enter the contest and win and come back again. Well, that's happened maybe 5 times over the years. But once you've won, then you've reached what we can take you to. And then, like I said, we will work and put you on radio, TV, and print. Sometimes I'll put them on the podcast now, but it's now for them to, the ball's in their court now to go and go out and survive and be a writer, an artist, and do well, my son.
Right. And actually, I represent a lot of authors now, more so.
Wow.
And when I first started out in radio, John, I really concentrated on authors because I love to read. Mm-hmm. You have to love to read to
absolutely
do what we do, and people surprise me all the time. And I have to tell you about a little book that I'm really excited about. It's called "Whatever Happened to the Smooth-Tongued Cat." And it's an author that's a published author that wrote this piece about maybe 6 or 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'd like you to read it. And I read it. And he said, I read it in front of children in a classroom and they loved it. I said, why aren't we publishing it? Hello? So we're actually publishing it in June or July. I'm really excited because he's 82 years old, 82 years young.
Wow.
So you're never too old, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Now, who's been your oldest participant or, winner in your contest?
We've had, I think the oldest we've had is 76 years old, and the oldest contest entrant was 102.
Oh, wow.
And we've had a lot of young kids enter the contest. You need to have a mastery of English and grammar in order to be able to win the writing contest. So we've had maybe one, maybe two high school students that have won the writing contest. We've had, obviously college students, but normally it's in the late 20s, 30s that someone has really, they've written enough and gotten a voice, their own voice enough that they could actually do that. Illustrators, that's got the biggest range. Like I said, we had one illustrator winner this year who is 72, 73. He's continuing to get more media than I've ever gotten with anybody before. He's up to like 8 or 9 articles, but he's got Lithuania and all throughout Florida. He was a scientist before this, and he helped doing some research that helped on a cure for cancer, some aspect of cancer. And so he won awards on that, and then he was retired, and then he's entered the Rise of the Future contest several times, and he said, I'm gonna try my art too. So he entered that and won. And just amazing, he's just a real soft-spoken guy, and he's like, wow, really? And he just keeps on getting media after media after media. He's so, engaging. But I said, he's in his early 70s. We had someone 10 years ago who I think he was 76 when he won. And he was really happy because he was presented by Nancy Cartwright, who's the voice of Bart Simpson. So he said, can I get this? I could get a picture of this and give it to my grandkids. They're gonna think I'm so cool. I'm here with Bart, so he was happy about that. But yeah, it's just the whole gamut is anybody who's an artist, anybody who's a writer, it's open to you. You just can't have been professionally published, and that's defined as 8 cents a word or more. So if you've been 8 cents a word or more, and I think it's 5,000 sales, above that, then you disqualify. But up to that point, you can totally enter the contest. Even if you've written 3 books and it's published, but if they haven't sold, you're still eligible.
That's cool. That's really good.
It's very cool.
Because
the quarter in right now ends June 30th. So you still have time to get your stories in. If you've got a story, go to writersofthefuture.com, enter writing contest or enter illustrating contest. It's real easy to walk through and get the story submitted. And literally, you've got everything to win and nothing to lose. The worst that's going to happen, the actual worst that's going to happen is you'll get an email saying, thank you very much for your submission. Please try again. No judging, no like, oh my God, how can you?
It's horrible.
Yeah, you're not going to get any of that. You'll never get that from this contest. Even in our writing forum that we have that you can go to, it's also free. We even have a rule. If somebody goes in and starts into judging or any type of negative, you get 1 warning, and the second time you're out of there, you're banned from the forum. It's easy to find judging and criticism. If just open a window, you can find it. Just reach out there. So we have a place. This is a safe place. You can go as a writer or an artist and just find like-minded writers and artists that just want to be able to help you, and they want to do well, and they want to help you do well. And anybody that wins the contest, everybody in the forum cheers you on, because it's a win for you is a win for them too, because they're all about helping everybody else make it.
Now let me ask you a question. Once they win and they get their award, which is I think $5,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can they take their original art and do G-clays or whatever with it and sell them as prints?
Absolutely. So the writers and the artists maintain full rights to their work. So even when you submit it, you still own your story. We just ask that you don't send it out again, because if you get it published and then you win and the timing is off, then you'll disqualify yourself. But otherwise, you maintain your rights to your story. We're not trying to get somebody and we want your intellectual property so we can do something ourselves. No, we print the book. We have an ebook. We have the trade paperback, and sometimes we do audiobooks. But otherwise, you've got your rights to your story, and many of them go off and we'll sell them again to magazines and other things like that. So absolutely. And one thing you made a comment about, the grand prize winner wins $5,000. Each winner, the quarterly winner, the third place winner wins $500, second place winner $750, and the first place winner wins $1,000. And then with the artists, they all win $500. So that's what you get in addition to the royalties that you get when you get published in the book And then in addition to that, the $5,000 you get for the grand prize. And the flight to Hollywood is paid for by the contest. The hotel's paid for by the contest. The gala's paid for by the contest. So it's quite a package that you'll get as a winner.
How many people come in when you bring them in to Hollywood? How many people usually?
Well, we have the 24 winners, the writer and illustrators, plus we have about 30 judges that come in. We have other speakers that we get in. Like this year we had a general that just retired from the Air Force. He was one that helped create the Space Force, and he's a really good friend. And so we flew him in. We have other past winners that are very successful. They're not judges, but they come in, they speak to the winners, because the winners like hearing from them because they're closer to their scene, and established, like, you see, it's great to hear from Orson Scott Card, but he's like on top of the mountain. You kind of look at it like, wow, that's untenable for me. So what they have to say is important, but they want to hear about the guy that's bridging from having been a winner to developing their own career as well. How are they doing it today? So we'll fly in maybe 60, 70 people, and then families and spouses also be flown in. They pay themselves for that. So they'll be at the hotel. The last couple of years we've been at the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, and there'll be 200 people that'll be there in the hotel for that week.
I can't thank you enough for joining us, and I need to talk to you after the show because I want to invite you, by the way, in November the 3rd, put this on your calendar, to the Air Power Foundation event, the gala, and I want to invite your friend, the military guy, and your wife, right? Because it's a big deal for the military. We raise $3 million. We're a foundation that gives to other foundations.
Wow.
So Gary Sinise has been with us for years. So many different people that I can't even tell you, but I'm getting all the information for you because I really would like you to be there.
I appreciate that. I very much would like to attend. Thank you, Kathryn.
Okay, thank you. And give your website real quick if you don't mind,
Sure.
and where they can.
writersofthefuture.com. Writersofthefuture.com. That's where you can enter the contest. You can enter. You can read the blog. You can listen to the podcast. You can join the forum, and absolutely, you can order your copy of Writers of the Future, Volume 38, right here. I got to keep my real hat as I'm the president of Galaxy Press. So I got to sell my books. So.
Right. And thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. One of these days, I'll get invited out to the event. What do you think?
I think next April we should have a visit from one Kathryn Raaker.
Thank you so very much, and it's a pleasure. And don't forget to go to our website at KathrynRaakersWorld.com. We're everywhere with our television and radio shows today. Thank you so much for joining us.